Cariotta on his left foot, whipped in the box, not a bad ball. Chance in the back post. Yes! Yes! Oh yes! Oh yes! Greg Halkett! Cariotta whips it into the back post, and there was Greg Halkett!
150 years, our 150th win, forever in our shadow. Ando, play the fucking music. Slick, boys. Slick.
Excellent. Didn't fuck that up at all. That's class.
Who cares? Fuck it. Yeah. Oh well. What a come down it is to be here. Let's go back to yesterday at this. Well, it would have been about this time. We'd have still been celebrating. I'm pretty sure we'd be no boys. About this time.
Definitely. Aye.
My stunner was still raging at that point, so
3 inches of pure glory, Tam. We were absolutely buzzing.
Must have been a warm day, Corbett, because that's Christ.
No, well, right. Well, hello everybody. Welcome back. Welcome YouTube. We will take a game that was absolute dog shit for 91 minutes. Focus on the last minute and 30. And make it last an hour, and we'll gloat all the way through it. Talk about how we're the greatest football team on planet Earth. Talk about our plans for May when we win the title. Laugh at Hibernian, and just get it right up them. Sound good, boys?
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Right, class. Tam, what's been happening?
Sorry, mate, my laptop's about to die, so see what you were saying, Slick. I'm just trying to find the thing.
What have you been up to?
No match, mate. No match. Sorry, I'm just on the come down from yesterday, as you say. Maybe move on to the next person. I'll go find a charger, and I'll be back in 2 seconds.
That's why I said, Kev, how you doing?
Oh, I thought you said Tam. Sorry.
You're just a constant disappointment and embarrassment.
You are the Hibernian of this podcast.
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Laughing at Tam as much as I was laughing at Hibs last night. They were generally ready to celebrate a draw, like a victory, but shot that down pretty damn quickly.
Well, let's not get too carried away. Remember, they won the singing, so we need to settle for the fact that yet again we failed to win the singing contest. Andal, what's been happening?
Not much, mate. Good day out yesterday with Kev and a few others. I'm sure we'll cover that later or whatever. But aye, it's still absolutely buzzing from that result yesterday. So aye, nothing else to say.
I've probably watched the Halkett goal and celebrations and the full-time scenes about 400 times a day, which has been great fun. Right, Tam, you back in the room with us? How are we?
I'm good, mate. Thanks. Sorry, I thought my name was Kev for a wee second there. So
all fully charged, are we?
Yeah, I'm just too excited, man. It's been a long 24 hours, but we're good.
Yep. Well, it feels like the world is back in its axis. It's a very surreal feeling to go a full season and not win an Edinburgh derby. We've won our first one at our first attempt, which was Derek McInnes' first attempt, the first Edinburgh derby of the season. Feels like the world is back to being normal. So we'll talk about yesterday. Obviously, Heart of Midlothian 1, Hibernian 0. We'll talk about the game. We'll try and discuss if there's anything to even discuss. It was pretty dog shit. Weather didn't help. The fact that Hibernian came to get a draw didn't help. We can talk all things Hearts. Don't know if there's much news. And we'll just, like I said, we'll just gloat for an hour if we can make it last. Will we talk news first? Is anything exciting? I think the only big news coming out of Tynecastle this week was the contract extension to Harry Milne, Kev.
Yeah, signed a contract extension through to 2027. I know we mentioned it off air as such, but he's deserved it. He hasn't really looked out of place. I think I said it earlier on towards the end of last season or beginning of this season. You had that little bit of a concern that was Penrice going to be a suitable replacement for Alex Cochrane leaving. A couple of summers ago, Penrice came in and, if anything, probably played better than what Cochrane had. And then you probably had the same sort of feeling again when Penrice went this summer over to Greece. You thought, will Harry Milne be that suitable replacement? And he's not looked out of sorts. So yeah, definitely a good move to get him tied down to the club for a little bit longer. Of course, overall plan is to try and do exactly the same thing. Bring him in for very little money, give him an opportunity, and then see what we can, what lies ahead for him. So yeah, the only other bit of news: 3 young lads in the Scotland under-21. I see Macaulay Tate's been called up. I know he's at Livy, but he's still a Hearts player at the moment, along with McFarlane and Wilson. And then Gordon, who hasn't played since April, gets called up for the national team, which is bizarre as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not going to worry or lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's edit this out when it's not live. No one gives a fuck. Edit that out. But, well, as we're live, we'll have to talk about it. Right, Tammy, you're going to keep us up to date with anything that comes through on YouTube. If there's any questions and any comments, if anybody wants to just get it up, Hibs, just feel free to please put them in the comments. We'll put them all up because it's good to remind them. It's the 150th year. It's always nice to remind them that we are the big team. It is our city and we dominate this derby.
Can we do our first analysis of the weekend before the game? Your quiz performance on BBC Scotland.
What about it? Sitting top of the league just like the Hearts. Everything's coming up rosy for the Gorgie.
Just getting that question wrong about that band you've been in.
The band that I was in for like fucking 12 years. I know. Annoying.
It doesn't matter, right, about that. No. The only thing that matters is the fact that you said, who cares? To the question. I forget exactly what the question was.
Where did the Hibs sign Kieran Bowie for?
There you go. Aye. Right. I absolutely fucking spat my drink out when I was listening to that. It was absolutely class. I was like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that even if you got everything else wrong, you should still be at the top of the leaderboard for that shithouse answer. It was brilliant.
We, to give you an insight into the glamorous life of being on the radio, I had to sit in my car in my driveway because I had just picked up my kids, dropped them off, and when I was round about that point, when I was hanging it, the postman was like hovering at the car, and I was like, "Is he going to chap the window and give me this present?" When I'm like mid trying to answer questions on Hearts, so he was like pure hanging about, and then I just got pure brain freeze when they were like, "What's Begbie's first name?" And I was like, but never mind. Right. Talk all things the Edinburgh Derby. Was there anything pre-game that jumped off the page for anybody?
I wouldn't say so.
Just the fact I was quite happy that it was the same starting 11 again. I think I'm right in saying that's 2 games in a row where the starting 11's been the same.
3.
Is it 3? Fucking hell. Right. There you go. Can't remember the last time that happened. We'd have to go back and check the records and find out exactly when, but it's I was buying around at the bar and Kev came up and said that's the same starting 11. I'm like, excellent. That's kind of what I wanted. So that was the one thing that jumped it.
Well, let me have a rant about one thing before we talk about Hearts. Just to give people that listen at insight, it cost the Ultras about £4,000 to do the display on Saturday. And the fact that hospitality ripped and punched holes, you got grown men literally grabbing it and going like that because they were so angry that they had something over their head, that when the teams finally came out, they'd pulled it that much apart that the surfer flag had disintegrated because the gimps in suits couldn't stand like civilised human beings and had a flag over their head. I don't think people appreciate how much time and effort goes in to make those things happen, and for 2 minutes to hold it up just to let the team comes out, get the visual effect of what it's meant to look like. They wouldn't let it surf down to the position it was meant to, which is why the bottom row at the concourse looks like it didn't have any foils. And then there's people punching it, people trying to rip it, there was people refusing to hold it, and then they were got to the seams where the tape was and like pulling it apart so that they could look through to see the teams walk out onto the pitch. It's like utterly pathetic. It's ridiculous. And like I don't think people understand how that's hours and hours and hours of work. We were in Tynecastle till like 2 o'clock in the morning, Friday night into the Saturday morning, in that wind. It was crazy, trying to get everything into position, trying to make the foils stay in the seats so that then they all float away and hang about Edinburgh. And then you're just asking for folk for 5 minutes to participate in something in the actual Canada. It's pathetic. It's actually pathetic. Hearts fans, Hibs fans, whoever it is in hospitality. And Hearts need to just grow up, kick them out, get the hospitality out of that stand. Nobody cares. There's a picture my dad took of Tynecastle at the start of the second half with like the purple sky and that looked class. And the game's gone on, and there's a big middle section of the stand behind the goal with nobody in it because they were all still in the stand. And it's like, it just looks stupid. Just get the suits out of the home ends so that home fans can actually fill it up, get a bit of atmosphere, and stop worrying about selling fucking sticky toffee pudding to Gary Wales and his pals. It's pathetic. So there you go. There's my rant before the game kicked off. So
even worse, how much of a disgrace was that when obviously the tifo's going to get flung on the pitch at the corners and whatnot, but for Hearts not to have somebody available to just pick the fucking bits of paper off the pitch when the ref stopped the game, that was a joke.
It is what it is. I think it's probably because it's on the TV. I think it's because it's on the TV that they have to stop the game or whatever. But that was just my wee annoyance. Like, it looked class, and then obviously the information was to wait for the teams to come out and then hold the foils up. And we were like, right, we'll get the flag out and walk it down and into position so that the foils go all the way around it and it looks cool. It says we are the Hearts. It's obviously the old bulldog thing that you'll have seen all your loads of Hearts things. And it didn't even last that long, because by the time the teams had come up, they'd wrecked it to the point that it wouldn't survive, and it was falling apart. And then the TV cameras go to it and it looks class, and then a big bare bit in the middle. So it's just pathetic, and Hearts need to do something about it because it costs too much money to just waste it because folk are pathetic and didn't want something the other head. So anyway, so that was pre-game. But again, you know what I'm for? I know we've said it on repeat. I absolutely buzz. Got to think. I didn't even know who was playing for Hearts until the game kicked off, because I couldn't care less. I know that it'll be the right team. That there's not going to be any mentalness that jumps off the page. It makes the games, Kev, so much more relaxing, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still going to be questions about certain players being picked, but I think it's an unusual situation for us to be in. You're getting a settled side. Keeper looks assured. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's only had 2 or 3 games there, but I must admit, I thought he looked out of
apart from when he passed the ball into the middle of nowhere in the second half and they almost scored.
But that was just to keep it interesting for them. Exactly, mate. But no, I think collectively having a settled side is a massive, massive plus. What it also does is challenges those who are on the outskirts trying to get back into the team. challenges them to actually up their game during training and, show their actual manager that they can, step up to that particular level. And we've got a massive squad, so those guys are going to have to really get their finger out and show that they're worthy of a starting place, either in the 11 or the 5-6 subs that are on the bench.
But I think I've said this before, right? And folk will maybe be bored of hearing it and think that it's just maybe bullish bluster because we've won, right? But I'm going back to what I've said 1,000 times before. Aberdeen and Hibs benefit hugely when we're terrible. Last season, if we were anything even just a wee bit above mediocre, we'd have finished third again, because both teams are absolute dog shit. And Hibs yesterday, they've got a cheek. All my Hibs mates before the game were like, "Oh, we're expecting, hoofball, big physical heart, set plays, throw-ins, blah blah blah." That's all they did. They came for a draw, and that's all they played for. Even for I know that Cammy Devlin took the piss at them where kick off at the start of the second half, but even like their kick off at the start of the game, just absolutely hoofing the ball up the park, trying to win throw-ins, just chucking the ball into the box. They are absolutely terrible. They're not a good team, and I thought that last year, but you can't say that because it's better. It sounds better because we were so terrible, but there's nothing about them that I thought they were even good. The boy up front that's keeping Shankland out the Scotland squad, get a fucking real haircut, you idiot. Fucking dog shit. It's a fucking idiot up there.
Spent 80 minutes of the 90 lying down on the ground.
Lying on the ground, mate. And I thought what have they done? They must have a buy one get one free coupon, something going on, because they've all got a mullet. They've all got the same haircut. They must just go into a barber, Boyle, Iredale, O'Hare, Bowie, and just say, "Give me the shittest haircut you've got." Boyle's haircut is embarrassing. Just grow up, mate. Grow up. But I thought they were absolutely dog shit.
I've got a question about that. Wait, that kickoff, by the way. What was that? Do you think Devlin just took the piss in the second half with the same one?
He did that. You see them looking at you look at them, looked over to the bench and they were all having a laugh and a joke about it or whatever. But again, it's this thing like they're trying to bring almost like an NFL style start to games or a rugby game, because that's what it's been popular in English football. That's how English football are now starting games, is immediately punting the ball up and into, you try to get it in line with the 18-yard box or whatever, so that you push the team that you're playing against already onto the back foot, already closer to their goal than they want to be. But I just thought, I didn't expect scintillating Brazilian style football or whatever, but I did think that I expected Hibs to have a wee bit more about them than just low block. It was quite disappointing. First half, Tam, do you think the weather, the occasion, was a bit stop-starty, wasn't it?
I think you're right. I think weather, occasion, both of those parts came into play. We from a Hearts perspective, we kind of struggled to get, like, Shankland, Braga barely touched the ball in the first half, to be honest. Kizarides had his few moments. There was a chance, obviously, where he nearly repeated what he done last week with his shot. That was kind of dipping. But other than that, you're right. There wasn't much to talk about, to be honest. I felt that every time Kizarides got the ball, Kingsley wasn't really overlapping, which kind of slowed the game down, and that it just didn't really, there wasn't much sort of the fluency we've seen in previous weeks, but it wasn't the most exciting, put it that way, for either side.
I think everything was man for man in the first half. We had the same shape, and I think that was kind of played in everybody's mind about the bombing it forward and leaving yourself exposed or whatever, because it's about the only thing they have was the ball over the top for Boyle, which obviously nearly caught us out twice. Obviously, first the one he was offside, but then the other one when he dinked onto the bar. But I thought, and I don't know if it's a criticism or whatever, but I thought that I was interested to see how Kizzaridis and Braga, etc., played in a derby, given that they're quite flair players or whatever, and that normally a derby's quite rough and tumble type stuff. But I felt that they were trying too hard to be like wee flicks and tricks and stuff like that when they had more time on the ball to be a bit more deliberate.
Aye, no, you're absolutely right, and especially in the first half, because we just because of where we sit in the ground, Kev, you'll know like how many times did it happen, especially in the first half. They get stupid wee flicks and as Corbett says, tricks. You just go, just play the simple ball, just do it nice and super simple. This is a derby. You almost have to go back to basics for it. And it's there's a time and a place for that. And when it's when you're 3-0 up against meager opposition or whatever, then do all the tricks and overhead fucking kick cartwheels that you want. But against an opposition like that in a game like that, just stick to doing the simple thing and do it well.
Yeah, I think Scottish TV Gold makes a very good point as well, Tam. It was. I think it wasn't like absolutely horrendous, but just things that it just didn't quite come off for Harry Milne yesterday, like it has been in other games.
Yeah, it seemed to be the sort of the basic things like the first touch, the sort of instinctive pass, and even just driving at the sort of their left back because he got booked early on.
So here's just to jump in, right? How was that a booking? Right? How do you get booked for punching somebody in the face? It's either nothing or it's a red card. It happens right in front of us. He does that right across his face. Like, it's either nothing, get up and get on with it, it's a derby, or it's a red card for me.
To be honest, I've not actually seen it back. I'm going to give the manager answer here, and I only seen it at real time and on the other side of the stadium. But if it is what you're saying it is, you're spot on. It should be that. But then about 10 minutes later, there was that challenge at the edge of the box for Cadden on Kizzaridis or whatever it was, and there was not even a booking. And you're like, how was that not a booking? The ref yesterday was ridiculous.
Shocking.
For
my dad,
looked at his depth.
My dad said to me at half time, he was like, because he let quite a bit of stuff go in our favour, he was like, he'll even this up in the second half. We'll get nothing in the second half. And there was a few of them where it was like, I don't know how many times Braga got fouled. The ball was getting fired up to him. How many times they were over the top of him and the ref just played on. But every single time Bowie got the ball, he went down, or Boyle got the ball, they went down, and they seemed to be winning free kicks, which was very frustrating. But I had to Milne. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was like, Kev, if it was like nerves or aggression or whatever it is, but we seem to be absolutely leathering the ball into him. Or it was just or it's just we normally do that and his first touch was class. But I noticed loads of times yesterday that he just never got his first touch right. But I did think, why are we smashing that at him?
I think there was I think a lot of the balls that were played yesterday, not just to Harry Milne but others, was down to the actual conditions. And from that point of view, they were properly fired into every player. You mentioned about Harry Milne. There was a couple of times that he came inside, and he just actually came into a busy part of the pitch rather than actually put it down the line. And Kizzaridis was exactly the same. Yes, his goal against Halkett last weekend was tremendous, and he did try it yesterday. But the amount of times he wanted to always come inside, whereas I would have preferred him to get down to the byline and get that ball back, whether that's to Braga, whether that's to Shankland, whoever. I would have preferred to actually have seen that style of play rather than the trying to be smart, as you said earlier on, with the wee flicks and everything else. Ando, let's be more direct. Let's be effectively, put in the old school, get to the byline, cross it in, and let Shankland, pick it up. But Shankland was also didn't have the greatest first touch yesterday, and no doubt we'll speak about that from his in the second half performance.
It was. I actually think Derek McInnes spoke about it after the game as well. He'd said about us sort of having the opportunity to put the ball into the box and refusing it and recycling it back. I thought we had two absolute standout players yesterday in Maroon. Craig Halkett was talk about. Well, Craig Halkett gets his own special little monologues when we talk about him because he was an absolute colossus. But I thought Cammy Devlin was really, really good yesterday. But my one criticism for Cammy Devlin is the same as what we spoke about last week. There was hundreds of opportunities, especially in the first half, where we had them hemmed in, maybe not peppering them with chances, but we had them where we wanted them in terms of we were in and around 18-yard box and Cammy Devlin was winning the ball back and immediately passing it 40 yards back to Finlay. And like, what you doing? We've got them hemmed in up the park. Like, drive forward, like turn and face their goal, take a man on, cross into the box, shoot, do something positive. And that's, I thought Cammy Devlin was absolutely brilliant yesterday. He won the ball back hundreds of times. He's loads of energy and all that stuff. But that bit where what separates him and that differential between him and Benny and Ajew or Neuenhoff or whatever is that extra element of a midfielder where I think at the goalkeeper we seem to have stumbled onto somebody. The back four have improved and look much, much better. The front three look brilliant, interchangeable, linking, they're starting to understand each other. Wing backs look great stuff. It's just that two in the middle of the park. Every single time they get the ball, they just look to give the ball to someone else safely. And yesterday I felt that there was loads of opportunities, loads of bits on the game where we just picked the pass that was wrong and worked it back, and we released the pressure in those bits. So it was a pretty even first half, uneventful. I would say that we probably had the better of the chances, but there were nothing more than half chances. I think like the Braga header where he's just mistimed the jump and the guy's managed to get his head on it and head it off him, and then obviously the Kizarides free kick that goes right into the keeper's feet and he has to kick it away. Anything else first half that caught your eye?
No, I can think of.
No, I generally expected more from Hibs at the beginning of the game. I thought they would actually, given that the way they set up, I thought they would come at us a little bit more than they did. But you don't really, recall any save from the keeper at all in the first half. But the second half was a little bit better, but first half was definitely less talk about it, the better.
It was a typical derby game, and let's be honest, these are the things. This is why we lost the derbies last year, because we don't win these battles. We didn't win our individual battles. We didn't go man for man, and we let them dictate how the game went. So from that sense, like I've said 1,000 times before, and I'll keep saying it. It's and there was a moment that we'll talk about in terms of mindsets between both the clubs. We've always been. I'll look back in this game in 2 years' time. I won't give a fucking shit that Hearts were rubbish. Hearts won. That's all that matters. When Lawrence Shanklin took the ball down off Rocky Bashir at Easter Road and smashed into the top corner, we'd been absolute dog shit for 93 minutes, but we won. That's all that matters. And I think that we done the derby side of the derby really well yesterday. That's tackle, sprint, win your battles, no be a shite bag like we've been for years. I thought we got that spot on yesterday.
Aye, definitely right. And the even top level shithousery for the keeper at the end was I didn't notice it myself, but somebody in the community chat, link in the description by the way, who was just booting all the balls off of the the wee moulded things that like for quick throw-ins or whatever. Apparently was just booting them onto the stand, and that it's just stupid petty stuff like that. I absolutely loved it. But you're absolutely right. The dark arts of the game that you need to employ in a derby absolutely spot on yesterday.
I think, like, Tam, it's easy to talk about how like rubbish the game is, but anybody that's watched, Hibs went to Ibrox and tried to do the same. Hibs went to Celtic Park and done the same. You know, we've spoke about it at length in the past about it's really difficult to play against a side that come in low block. You know, that come and look to just nullify you, hit on the break type thing. So I thought that the first half was loads of like almost, it was all huffing and puffing, no fart, no jobby, etc. And that was like, it was a theme that continued into the second half. Were you surprised not to see subs sooner?
Absolutely. To be honest, what was it? We got our first sub like
82nd minute.
Yeah, which it was all, everyone around me were like, can we, like, shouting for changes, everything like that. And to be honest, Hibs were quite late in terms of their making changes. It's something you don't really see in football in this day and age. Now that you've got 5 subs, usually it's a squad game and they'll make changes, change shape, whatever. But I think McInnes knew that we weren't, I don't know, we weren't going to lose it essentially. But at the same time, I would have liked to have seen us make those changes quicker and maybe went for it a bit more. But at the same, it's one of those things. It's a derby. You don't want to lose it. So it is what it is.
Putting you in the spot and without being a total dick, what would your changes have been?
To be honest, I would my first change for the first half, I would have liked to have seen Milne go back into left back, Kingsley come off and bring on a winger. Out of that, it would have been Forrest or Kujota to come on as a first change. That's what I would have liked to have seen. I feel like Milne would have overlapped a lot better for Kizaridis, and we would have got a bit more down that right left hand side type thing. I just felt in the first half Milne wasn't really doing much. McInnes, that side there was a complete difference on an attacking side for me in the first half, but that would be the change I would have made.
Kev, I think what stuck out to me is quite disappointing is what we talked about there is the fact that Obita got booked pretty early on, and we focused all of our attention on getting the ball to Kizaridis and never really put him under any pressure, which was kind of disappointing, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the way we've been successful this season, I've felt is that we've used the wings pretty well. We've focused on getting the ball to the byline and getting that cross in. There was none of that. Tam's mentioned it the other now. There was none of that overlapping, so you were never going to be asking any questions whether it was Obita on one side or Cadden on the other. You were always going to be. We always wanted to try and go through the middle, which I thought was the wrong sort of plan. In regards to changes, if I'm being honest with you, I would rather see Cabangu come on and actually run at Obita. Give him a proper run at him, because I don't think as an actual wing back that they tried to play him, I don't think that's his best position, if I'm being honest. And it would have been interesting to see him actually have to defend against, as I say, Cabangu, especially him with his pace.
There was, Nando, this is what I was going to say about mentalities, right? There was a bit in the game around about the 60th minute till about 70, 75 minutes where the game opened up. They had a chance, the Boyle goal, but Braga had went one-on-one, Shanklin had went one-on-one, we'd had a couple of, the game started to open up and chances started to be created. And then this is where if I was to differentiate between both the clubs, this is where I think the big mindset change is different. They're looking at the clock and David Gray's gone, if I get a draw here, that's 4 without a defeat. It probably becomes like one of the first managers in their history that have went their first 4 derbies and not lost. It becomes a big thing where I felt that we had that little bit of open play and then they shut up shop. They must look at the clock and be like, a draw's pretty decent. Let's get out of Dodge with the points. And I felt that their substitutions reflected that. Whereas when we made our subs, I felt that we were like, we'll create a chance here. Like we could go win. We can still go on and win this. And our substitutions were more positive in terms of getting positive players on the park that can go affect the game. Now, don't get me wrong. I know that Carjota puts a ball in or whatever, but it wasn't like instant and made us absolutely amazing and we were peppering them and say keeper was making hundreds and hundreds of saves. It was just that little difference. And I've said 1,000 times to all you boys about, I hate that, we're just unlucky. You make your own luck in football. They did a negative change to try and hold on to something like a Robbie Nielsen would do, like a Craig Levein would do, like a Stephen Naismith would do. And then McInnes went, let's go try something. Let's go try be positive. And we got the reward for it at the end. But I think that mindset is what drives results in these derbies for us.
Aye. And not only just the derby. I think that sort of mentality and positive change when it's you've covered it so well and eloquently just by what you've said, so no point in me repeating it, but that whole mentality looking forward is going to be the difference maker, I think, when it comes to this team. And it's absolutely brilliant to see, because you're absolutely spot on. The changes that we did make, while it's not a case of taking 3 defenders off and putting 3 strikers on, which obviously is ludicrous, but you know what I mean. It's all about levels, and you're absolutely right. Hibs did try to get back up the road with a point, because they're thinking, it's an away point at Tynecastle, we'll take that. But then McInnes isn't settling for that. Proper then what's it's gung ho, because it wasn't gung ho in the true sense of the word, but it was absolutely a positive change and brilliant. That's what you want to see.
And I think I don't say it was gung ho, but what I like, Tam, is the fact that it's about the 4th phase of play. If you want to get to that wanky way of talking about it, right? That the cross comes in for, but when you actually look and you listen to Halkett after the game, look at the numbers that we have in the box. That wasn't a set play. That wasn't a hand on the ball, everybody get into position and put the ball in the box. That was, I think it was a corner for us that was awful, or a free kick that never went to anywhere. Recycled the ball, tried to put it back into the box, didn't go anywhere. Recycled again, tried to put it back into the box, didn't go anywhere. Then recycled it and put it back into the box and we score. But at the time you look in the box, there's Shankland, there's Halkett, there's Forrest, there's Cabangu, there's Magnuson. Like, they're all in there. Like, they just thought, fuck it, I'm staying up. I've got a chance.
One of them was getting it by hook or by crook.
Yeah, I've got a chance. I've got a chance here, and it's that. Like, and we actually, I'd wish we'd been a bit more like that throughout the game, just a bit more caution to the wind, because I felt that that's kind of what we've seen. McEntee didn't quite go as far forward as he has been doing. Milne wouldn't quite go far forward. Kingsley was the same. You know, Kingsley was overlapping and getting to the byline against Falkirk, backing up Kazarides on that side. And I think they were just the derby, and if you make a mistake, you lose the game you didn't want to or whatever. But it was just that mindset thing about wanting to go score a winner is the thing that I love the most about this Hearts team.
See, to ask a question back to you, do you think we'll see them, as we fast forward after the international break into the next game, is it Kilmarnock and then Celtic? Do you think if it's no going our way, or if we're in a draw situation, do you think that the more and more, the longer we go with the current record being undefeated and all that sort of stuff, there'll be a mindset of maybe doing what Hibs would do? What Hibs done yesterday, which is protect what we've got at the risk of potentially losing the game by being a bit too positive. Or I suppose the question is, would you want that positivity to continue? Or let's say in a couple of games' time, we're drawing 0-0 at Parkhead or whatever, and it's a do or die decision. Do you want us to go gung-ho and go for it, or do what Hibs done yesterday?
Well, I think Alex Ferguson was famous for his teams for that exact thing. You know, he's always of the opinion he'd rather go, if it's 1-0 to an opposition team, he'd rather lose 2-0 and try to get it back to 1-1. or if it's 2-2, he'd rather lose 3-2 than, do you know what I mean? Like, just, and you build, and the thing, McInnes keeps talking about it. When you're a team and you're looking at the clock and you know that you're playing against a side that's going to come at you to the last minute and are scoring goals for fun in the dying minutes of games, how many times have you sat and watched a Celtic or a Rangers at their prime going, they're going to score? You know, you can feel it building, you can feel it coming, where you know this is just a side that almost wills the ball into the net type thing. And that does wonders for a team. The confidence of a team, but also it's the impact it has on other teams. That's like, everybody keeps talking about the fact that Hibs concede the last minute goals all the time, or they concede right before half time. That's something that you start to think about. You're thinking, fuck, we've got 4 minutes to go. They're going to absolutely batter us here and we'll crumble. So I think, what do we have to lose? That's my thing about all this is, what do we have to lose? Right? We're in an absolute win-win situation. No one expects us to do anything. No one expects us to win the league. No one expects us to split the Old Firm. We've got an 11-point gap over Rangers. What difference does it make? Just go for it. Like, just go for it. That's what Hearts fans enjoy.
Just what Celtic have been doing for years.
Got some sad news, unfortunately, though.
Has Russell Martin been sacked, has he?
He has been sacked, unfortunately. As we've been on live tonight, he has been sacked. So, yeah.
Well, that's a shame. Welcome back, Barry, Broxy Bear, Andy Cameron, whatever he was called. Whoever it was, whoever's sitting in the loud and the no drinking. You want to be the set play coach.
Andy Cameron's still alive.
I don't know if that's offensive to anybody. I'm sorry, but I just remember got the Ibrox and having a comedian come on before the game kicked off. Like, what? What is this all about? Anyway, right. Anything on YouTube that we're not? Any questions? Anything that we've?
You've not been paying attention, have you, Tam?
No, a good point here for Gargoyles. I just was struggling to get my mouse there, to be honest. But here you go. And for the audio listeners, I better say it as well. But he says, felt like the subs were perfection, to be fair. Waited to see the Hibs changes and tailored ours to theirs. Different story if we don't get the winner, though.
Yeah, I think I think Craig Halkett spoke perfectly after the game, where he said if it was a draw, I don't think anybody would have had any complaints. But it's those fine margins. You know, even without being that guy, you look at Celtic today, they get a 92nd minute winner and they get the decision and the penalty and get a 92nd minute winner against Kilmarnock. I think I focus on the fact that you make your own luck. You know, that's how football works. If you're brave, if you go for it, then those little moments normally tend to go in your favour, and that's huge. That's huge. So yeah, you're right though. If nobody would have walked out of Tynecastle yesterday furious that it was a 0-0 draw. To be honest with you, it was the most 0-0 draw I've ever been in my whole entire life. It was 91 minutes of absolute dog shit, and then the best 15 minutes of my life so far after it, because it was absolutely sensational. Right.
How many times have we done that this season already, though? Like, in terms of... Three times, perfect. Have we already discussed that?
Well done, Tam. Let's see what happens when you go for a pee.
Yep.
I'm good, no, we haven't actually discussed it. But again, it's funny, there's a narrative coming about where that, I don't know if people are thinking that that's a bad thing. You know, when I talk about it all you want, I think it screams absolutely everything that I love about this team. It's everything that we wouldn't have got under the last 6 managers. That we would have had a cut-off point. Like I said, they would have looked up to the clock and said, just didn't lose it.
Yep.
Just didn't lose it. And we got a manager that goes, go in it. Let's go. Like, what's going to happen if we go gung-ho and you get this versus you might get a sucker punch yourself, but if you get to sucker punch them, they were spewing. They were absolutely devastated. And
Mark
again,
Doyle was in tears at the end of the game, which was amazing.
That's because his hair got missed. It's really stupid. It's really stupid haircut got missed. But that's the thing, is they've sat for 8 months of the glorious height of being above us. think it every single time it's a false dawn for them. They're the greatest team that's ever started, and they were going to challenge Celtic and Rangers, and they're the establishment club, and they're the best team in Edinburgh, and blah, 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 blah. And they can't accept that the only time they're in the spotlight is when we're dog shit. Whenever we want to wake up, dust ourselves off, and act like the big team, we bitch slap them, and they cannot handle it. And that is what happened yesterday. It's why there was £9,875 coins on the pitch. Every vape they've ever bought, every half bottle that they ever had. It's why Tynecastle looked like a shrapnel bomb had went off, because they can't take it. They can't handle the fact that the reality is they are in our shadow. They will always be in our shadow. We pull them out every now and again and slap them and put them back in their place, and they hate it. And I fucking love it.
It's embarrassing as fuck. Like how can you just? I don't know. How can you get behind that nonsense? It's got to wear you down. Like, and everybody says that, I suppose, like outside of the old firm, but it's completely dick pinged once again, and the fact that everything valuable they had got emptied into a biffa skip and taken up the road by us to the landfill. Like, what? Shocking.
Put this question to you: if we'd lost a last-minute defeat at Easter Road, would you be staying till the very end, or would you be like Block 7 and still try to goad the fans till 10 minutes after full time? Get out, man! Just leave. Just walk away. What are you doing?
Well, it was
No when you're beaten.
They went up the stairs and were all getting lifted because they forgot that. This is what I laugh at all the time. That didn't they wear a balaclava into the ground, then put a balaclava on in the ground so that the cameras can see them put the balaclava on, and then wonder why they're getting lifted at the end. It's like, we know who you are, man. Like, we know who you are. Like, use your brain.
It's like an airport where there's all the cameras on you or whatever.
All the cameras in order. Right. We've danced about it for ages. Part of the reason why I was absolutely ecstatic yesterday was because I told everybody in Section N, and all the scenes and all the limbs and everybody, I was waxing lyrical about how good a goal Cammy Devlin scored. So if anybody was in Section N, I apologise. I have no idea why I thought it was Cammy Devlin, but there you go. And all the crazy scenes, people going, who scored? And I was like, it was Cammy Devlin. It was Cammy Devlin.
Were you drinking yesterday?
No, I can't, Kev. Man, who knows? I didn't even know why I thought about it.
To be fair, did you not see McInnes post-match as well? He was like, a great header for Halkett. That's what he said on the telly, and you're like, nobody knew what was going on. The ball's in the back.
I was upside down, 4 rows in front. It was in the absolute, it was one of those weird things in the absolute chaos and carnage in Section N. I noticed there was an 8-year-old wee lassie, row 2. And I was like, she's going to die. If we score, she's going to die, because it was absolutely bananas. But when I got walking back to the car, and I realised that it was Craig Halkett that scored. I fucking love Craig Halkett. I think I've said it 1,000 times before in this podcast, and I'll keep saying it. When Craig Halkett plays for Hearts, Hearts are a better football team with Craig Halkett in it, and I was absolutely delighted that he's played 7 games. That seems like a record. But just, you go through the team and pick who would you have loved to have scored or whatever, but just for the fact that he has had such a shit 2 years, the fact that he skipped going on a holiday this year, lost 5 kilos, it looks phenomenal for it, and has been absolutely, it was colossal in the game, but he's been absolutely sensational. I was absolutely delighted for Craig Halkett. Buzzing.
And even before his goal yesterday, it was fucking bulletproof. As you say, an absolute colossus in the game, and that's just the cherry on the cake, almost, isn't it? It's brilliant.
How worried
2 goals in 2 games. What a striker he's turning out to be, man.
How worried were you in that second half when he went down and he was holding his hip or whatever it was, and he was hobbling about? I was like, oh no, this is it. He's done. He's done again. But there you go.
I'm telling you how mad the limbs were. That Craig Halkett actually came pretty much and celebrated in front of me. I never even
You
seen
thought it was
him.
Kevin Devlin.
I've never even seen him or knew that it was Craig Halkett. I was pretty sure the stadium announcer said it was Cammy Devlin Tay, but I don't know. I was upside down. I had about 3 folk on top of me. My hoods were over my head. It was absolute carnage. But
it was bedlam when that goal went in. Like obviously, like where me and Kev sit, like you're like, yes, I'm going absolutely daft. It's just 100. Kev's on his knees, pretty much greeting, and then the 3 lassies that I don't know what's happening with the tickets on the left hand side of me. It's somebody different sitting there every week now, and the 3 lassies who I had an argument with before kick-off, but we'll leave that alone. I think I
because
kissed
in
every
the
single
kitchen,
one of them.
more like you and doing it.
What's that?
Because the one in the kitchen. So it was. We'll let you use it.
Whoa, calm down. That's
Is that for the Patreon? No, we're not allowed to give away our secrets.
But no, I think I'd had an argument with them before kick-off because I said they were sat in the wrong seats, but no, me being a drunken arsehole, I was in the wrong seat.
Right,
so
okay.
I had to apologise to
no
them.
seats.
Again, in the full-time whistle, I think I'd winched and cuddled every single one of them. I was like, you can come back anytime, you cows.
A question though, where does those limbs lie for you in terms of Tynecastle? Because you've had it at away ends and stuff like that, but limbs at Tynecastle, that's up there with Rosenborg for me.
That was up there with Rosenborg. That was because I actually think it was better than Rosenborg.
Because of what it means.
Because of what it means, but also because of the fact that, like, honestly, I keep describing Hearts fans and Tynecastle like 11-year-old boys at a primary school disco, standing on the edge of the wall, just desperate to get up and dance and be involved, and no doing it until somebody gives them the green light to do it, and then they're moonwalking and knee sliding and doing the cha-cha slide and doing the Macarena, loving it like they've had the time of their life. That's what Tynecastle's like. I feel like everybody just sits desperate to do something, and then Tynecastle, we score. It's limbs everywhere. It's carnage. It's absolutely unbelievable. Derek McInnes is on the pitch. He's in the crowd. I think the German keeper came over and was in your section at some point for the goal. And then, like, for there till the full time whistle, till 15 minutes after the game finishes, it's absolutely bouncing, and it was sensational. Like, even the limbs on the telly were class. Normally, the Gorgie stand looks pathetic for big important goals, but it was absolute carnage.
It's definitely up there with the Rosenborg one for me. It was it was the bit where I was actually upside down. That was the one bit, and then Ando, you asked me who scored. I did tell you it was Halkett, no Cammy Devlin, so at least I gave you the right player.
You peeled yourself off the flare at that point, so well done. Because I hadn't noticed either.
Yeah. But it was. I think Carjota gets hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of praise. It was a brilliant floated ball. I thought he was really quite positive when he came on. To be honest with you, the good thing is that the guys that are coming on are making an impact, and that's so important. They're playing in the bounce games midweek where we're slapping folk about for fun. Then they're coming on and they're playing bit parts here or there in the games at the weekend, but they all look like they have something to add. And we've not had that for ages. You know, you look to the season gone by, we're looking to the bench and we're looking at a Macaulay Tate or an Aidan Denham or, you know, someone, Elliot Freer. Again, that's for donkeys ago. I was just trying to give people that are absolute dog shit news of us when they jumped off the page. But having depth in the squad for people to come on and have people that like are probably mega desperate to get game time, like Elton, still coming on and absolutely running himself into the ground, like knowing that that's the only way he can push for a start. It's class. It was just everything that can go right for Hearts right now seems to be going right, and Saturday was just absolute perfection.
Yeah, I thought pre-goal as well, as you say about Elton, when he just runs it whichever Hibs player it was, I can't even remember. But that just sort of set that impetus that we could still win that game. And he comes on and does that. And then obviously the Kurjota ball in, the first one he does was terrible, but same again, he does a second ball. And that pass, like for an assist, you don't see many better than that, to be honest. And fair enough. Go on, Kev, sorry.
I was just saying, it's landed in that spot that no defender wants to touch it.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You see a couple of defenders are like, I'm not putting my head on that, or I'm not putting my foot out to get, to try and knock that away or whatever, because it's very, very close and, it could go the wrong way. And you didn't want to be that player that also scores an own goal in the 91st, 92nd minute of the game. Thankfully, it wasn't required. And as we've said, Halkett, he's got to do it's actually a really good take to keep the ball low and to steer it directly into that bottom corner. A number of players who are strikers would have probably not done as well as what he did. So from a centre-half point of view or a centre-back point of view, it was absolutely tremendous.
I think he's in his 7th season with Hearts now. When he's been fit and on the pitch, he's been an unbelievable servant to the club. He's absolutely an adopted son of Gorgie now. That's the moments that players need that take them from being, a player that we like or would welcome back here or there to someone that will now be remembered forever because he's that good a player. And he's now got a goal that is synonymous with who he is and what he represents for Hearts. So I was absolutely delighted for Craig Halkett.
He'll now have a derby named after him, type thing. Do you know what I mean? Like
exactly.
Derby, like that's what it is.
And he absolutely deserves. He deserves that. He absolutely deserves it. I'll be surprised if he's not pushing on the door for a Scotland call-up.
Well, Gorgie Rules actually mentioned this comment, which I will pull up just to say, need to know why Grant Hanley is getting a game for Scotland over Halkett, which, to be honest with you, at the moment, and you know how much I like Scotland and I'm a big fan, but I'd rather just see none of our players going away with Scotland than just concentrating on Hearts. So,
100%. And to be honest, Smoked Sausage actually had a good game yesterday. For Grant Hanley played, he played all right for them. I thought he did okay. So he certainly seems a step above Rocky Bashiri, for example. He's got the biggest arse in football. He must have borrowed that off Gary McSwiggan. It is absolutely ginormous. The things you notice when you're sitting at section and watching them warm up. Right. We talk about Derek McInnes and his celebrations, and I'm singing "We Shall Not Be Moved."
And the Heart song as well.
I need to correct you before we go any further. We will refer to him from now on as Sir Derek McInnes.
We'll wait until he wins.
Already written to the king.
Wait until he wins something proper. But I fucking love the guy. Everything about him, I absolutely love. But seeing him on the pitch, hands up in the air, punch in the air, sing along with the songs. I fucking love that guy.
Best thing about it as well, and I know it sounds daft after what you just said, but his post-match interviews where he's saying we weren't good enough. That's the manager you want. Like, you could just be like adulation, take it all, but he knows exactly that we didn't perform well enough to properly win that game or whatever like that. But he also takes and sings as well. It's class.
I don't think. I agree. I love. He always immediately comes out and says it's 7 games. Right, we move on to the next game. Downplays it. It was good. I don't think we played bad. I just think that you have to respect you're playing against an opposition that have been to Celtic Park the week prior and to play the same game plan and got a 0-0. They were a minute and 30 seconds away from getting another 0-0. So you have to respect the fact that you are playing against other teams. There's a derby. The derby means absolutely everything to us. So, they know what it is to lose a derby. The players in this changing rooms, your Cammy Devlins, your Craig Halketts, your Bennies, your Shanks, Kingsley, all these guys that felt it last year will know what it was like. It's why Cammy Devlin and Craig Halkett went right to the away end when the full-time whistle went, just to get it clean up them, which was absolutely unbelievable to see. So they get it. They know. Go back and watch it and watch Benny's sarcastic handshaking everybody. It's my favourite thing.
I've actually not seen that. I
My
genuinely not seen
absolute
that.
favourite thing. He's shaking everybody's hands where you're meant to be like, oh, unlucky, commiserations, and he just looks like he's having the time of his life, shaking their hands.
That doesn't even surprise me with Benny. That's class.
So it was great. And these are the bits like, well, let's have a serious conversation. Where are you in the scale of being serious and your secret thoughts in your head? Where are we in terms of, is it realistic that we win the Champions League next year? Or where are you hovering when it comes to that? What's your feelings on where we're at? Are we winning the league? Are we in a title challenge? Or are we just keep putting distance between us and everybody else and see where it takes us? Where are we at?
I'll start with this, right? And because it's my character on this. I hate every striker that we ever sign, but boys, go out and buy shares in Bepanthen, because I have been chugging it so hard for so many weeks now that I've got a gallon of the stuff getting delivered tomorrow. I'm rubbing myself raw about how good this season could be. There you go, cards on the table.
Tam, are you buying what he's been rubbing off him? He says he's got a gallon in it if you want to buy it.
I don't know if I want second pass whatever that is, but
see the 3-inch comment from earlier. I'll give you a thimble, no time. You'll be fine.
That's a lifetime supply there, I know. But, for me, I think it's whatever were the expectations, the Tony Bloom's comments, everything like that. It's probably a season too early for me. I know Celtic and Rangers are in the dirt, everything like that. I think if we finish second or even third, but break the gap a bit, I think that would be a good season. I think second's a more realistic thing. I think winning the league this year is just a step too far, but let's enjoy it while it lasts, put it that way.
Jokes aside, I agree with Tam.
Well, let's be... Kev, you can make your point first.
I'll be exactly the same. I mean, you don't win anything in September, October, right? It's great to be on a crest of a wave. I'm going to steal, I don't know who it was that posted it on Facebook, but they simply said that I think in the next year Hearts will win the league, the cup, the English Premier League, the FA Cup, the World Cup, the African Cup of Nations, the Cricket World Cup, Tiddlywinks World Cup, the lottery, a Nobel Peace Prize, the Ryder Cup, Wimbledon, the Darts World Cup, the general election, an Oscar, the Old Firm Derby, Stanley Cup, Super Bowl. Honestly, it goes on and on.
We could be here all night.
Exactly. But the point is, right, it's enjoyable. We're enjoying going back to watch football. 12 months ago, 8 months ago, it was the most dire shite that I had watched season after season after season. But it did get, under Critchley, it got to possibly the worst, the lowest of the low. We're now the opposite end of that. We're now on a crest of a wave. We're enjoying it. We're seeing probably the football that we all want to see. It's entertaining. You've got players that, we've spoke about, Casaridis, Braga, these kind of players that have got a wee bit something about them, something we've not had for a long time. Enjoy it. We get to April, March, April, May. You're in the mixer. Well, why not? Why the hell not? The big thing is, you'll know perfectly well, Corbett, Celtic will go out and spend 10 million quid in January transfer window on whatever is required, whether that be a certain midfielder, a forward, or whatever. That's the one thing you've got to remember.
Well, and my caveat to that is, if Hearts are where they are now in the January transfer window, Tony Bloom will spend money. Tony Bloom will spend money. Like, I don't know why that's an argument that people keep throwing up. is, yeah, it's valid. I'm not saying that Celtic won't, 100%. They will. But so Tony Bloom. And if you're going to put from this so far into the season, would I put our recruitment from the summer till now against Celtic's recruitment from the summer to now and pick what recruitment I want, then I'm picking Hearts. We've done well better than them in the transfer market. So anyway, let me go back before I make my point here. Right, you said, Tam, there that it'd be a good season if we finish third. So you're telling me that if we finish third from this position and surrender 11 points to that Rangers team, that it would still be a good season come May?
When you put it like that, no. But at the same time, I'm thinking what I would have took pre-season would have been third. But I would have liked it to be a lot closer than what we have seen previously.
Well,
I think you still need to look at budgets. They're spunking £8 million on a striker that's never scored a goal, basically, or whatever it is. And you're like, look at that. And you have to think, surely there's a difference there in terms of budget. Anyway.
Well, we spent £2 million on a player that's going to win a Ballon d'Or. Like I said, it's not about recruitment. It's whether or no Celtic and Rangers spend money every year. Like that's the fact that Celtic have spent money and are still in this conversation with us. They've spent 20, 30, 40 million pounds in the last 4 or 5 seasons. They're no light years ahead of us. Do you know what I mean? And that's the thing, is if it's going to be a dick measuring contest about who will spend money in January, if we're here and still in the mix, still playing well, Tony Bloom will give us money. We will invest because he's put his neck in the line. He said, there's 2 things that people keep talking about. Tony Bloom's big statement for this season wasn't that Hearts will win the league. He said Hearts will win the league within 10 years. But he said we have a very, very, very good chance of finishing second this year. Yeah, so they're like the 2 things that they keep talking about. The Hearts have never said we're in a title race. Tony Bloom has said that if you give him 10 years, keep doing what we're doing, then he thinks we'll be challenging, we'll be there or thereabouts to win a title. So
he's pretty well informed, Tony Bloom, as well. He's quite good at.
He's not adapted.
What happens? He might have seen this coming. You might just put the 2 and 2 together and say you knew this was coming.
So there's a couple of really, really, really stupid arguments brewing right now about whether Hearts will win the title or not. I don't think Hearts will win the league, right? I'm just telling you that right now. I think it's too soon. It's too soon, but the absolute priority for Hearts, I don't actually think it's Hearts' priority either. I think, like I said, the biggest thing for Hearts this season was to fix last season and to fix the peaks and troughs. We've spoke about it 1,000 times before. We can't be boom and bust every 18 months. We can't do it. We have to bring our bar of what's successful and we have to bring it to a level where we know we can never drop below it, and that needs to be never being less than being third. So that's where he needs to bring that ceiling to there. And then you build on it from there, and look at where we're at. We're 3 months in, if that, into Tony Bloom's time at Hearts, and we're already sitting talking about are we winning leagues. But there's a really silly and lazy narrative coming in where people go, look at Aberdeen last year, look at Aberdeen, and that would be absolutely fine if Aberdeen had a normal season. I think Aberdeen went like 11 games unbeaten. They were still top of the league after the first round of fixtures. But when Aberdeen stopped winning games, they went from the end of October until May before they won a game again. So that's like, you're not comparing apples and oranges here. When it comes, you're not comparing apples and apples. It's apple and oranges. Right? Aberdeen's start last year was unbelievable, but you then caveat that with, right, so Hearts might match that, we might not. We've still got Celtic to come. We've got a tricky away game at Kelly, who are flying right now, etc., etc. So we're nowhere near where Aberdeen's start was. But the caveat to that is, do we then think, if we were to say right now, right, if Hearts get to the end of October, do you think Hearts will go from November until May and only win 2 games?
Absolutely not a chance in hell.
No.
And
that's the thing.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, we'll lose some, we'll win some. We'll lose some, we'll win some. That's the way it'll go. We will not go boom or bust. So We won't win the title, but we are right in the mix to be finishing second. That has to be the priority.
And there's a few comments here on YouTube as well. Like Paul Newton here has said, if Ague is as good as Derek McInnes says, then I think we'll prove again, look like a proper team with a guy that demands performance and charge. And then McLovin has also noted Chesnikov will be a massive jolt in the arm in January as well.
I was going to say it's January.
And the two of them, they've not even touched the ball yet. And like Chesnikov, his team won the Kazakh Cup or whatever yesterday. Pretty sure he scored as well. Aye,
yeah,
exactly. And like you've got these two that have not even touched the ball yet, and that's already taken us a level above. So that goes back to your point about in January. Well, we spend more money, but we've already got these two players that haven't even kicked the ball for us, really, and that's going to take us a level up.
You look at USG. They've got. I didn't realise that I watched USG v Newcastle the other day. USG have that guy that played with Riga.
Aye, it's better on the left mid. I know. Aye, yeah.
He's phenomenal against PSV. He was unbelievable, and that's what Brighton do. So, like, obviously, my mate played in the bounce game. We battered them 6-0. Jesus, Kabori absolutely destroyed them. Like, wasn't even in the squad. Like, this is what Jamestown and that does. It builds two teams. So if Shanklin's sold in January, Kabori's there to come in. Or if Braga goes in January, Kabori's there to come in and go. Chesnikov comes in if Kizaridis gets signed, or what do you know what I mean? That's what they're building incrementally. Exactly. The caliber of those players will get better and better and better and better. So the argument now is we're 11 points in front of Rangers and Hibs and the likes. That means that for Rangers to just go in front of us, we have to lose 4 games and they have to win 4 games, or we have to drop points in 6 games or whatever it is for them to physically leapfrog us. So again, we might lose 1, we might lose 2, but we're not going to lose 3 or 4 without us matching and fingering or whatever. So that's what the priority now is making sure that we keep adding to that gap as and where we can, because the good news for us, this always seems to happen, and it's why I was getting so angry last year about the group chat, the community chat. One of the reasons I left it with people celebrating that Motherwell had scored and were winning at Ibrox, and I'm like, Motherwell are our direct rivals to get out of the bottom fucking 6. Like, why are you celebrating that? Whereas this season they're all killing each other, game on game, getting a draw. Livy and Dundee United drawing with each other. That matters. That matters to us. So I don't think we're going to win the league, but we are absolutely in the mix for finishing second. And I'll be disappointed if that Rangers side, as it currently is, catches us. I'll be livid from being honest.
That Rangers side, sorry Tom, that Rangers side is what that Rangers side is going to be between now and January, right? So obviously Barton's gone. The Rangers have to write this season off. They're not going to be anywhere near it. I don't even know who our competitors are for second place. Let's be brutally honest about it. Who's in the top 6 just now? Kilmarnock, Dundee United, St Mirren and Motherwell. They'll all fall away. Hibs might go on a wee run, get a little bit better. Rangers get a new manager bounce. Whoever that's going to be. Like, let's be honest, it's probably Barry Ferguson again and Neil McCann and whoever else. Get them a couple of points back. But there's no strong competition to take second away for us. It just isn't.
Oh, it definitely feels that way right now. Right. What else? We got any other comments that we'll talk about before we wrap it up?
Kevin Wilson kind of backs up what you just said about the 4 defeats to catch us on the 11 points gap on Rangers. That's also put in perspective that Rangers will win all their matches as well, which exactly what you said. But yeah.
And it was funny. But it's my own fault, right? So I'm not looking for sympathy here, right? But I listened to the Daily Record hotline with Keith Jackson or whatever, and one of the guys.
You're right.
Okay.
Is that a thing? I've started listening. Sorry to talk over you, but I've started listening. I've never listened to it in years. The Clyde Super Scoreboard phone-in, because they released that as a podcast now with Hugh Cavins and your pal, and it's absolutely comedy gold. It's brilliant. I didn't know there was a Daily Record one. I'm going straight for that now.
Aye, but it's not worth listening to. That's what I was just my
Was it
point
not?
is.
Oh,
No,
shit.
they had Craig Swan or something like that was at the Celtic game the day when they were doing the debrief of the weekend result, and he said about Keith Jackson's got us winning the league. He's got us. We're champions. Put the ribbons on the trophy. He's bought in like, but the rest of them are like, and the argument as to why we wouldn't win the league is what I've just spoken there, because you look at Aberdeen last season and we've already said that that's no apples and apples. We're not comparing the same thing. But they also said that Craig Swan was like, I can't see Celtic going on, say, a 6-7 game unbeaten run. And I was like, well, they're 7 games into the season and they've lost the game. So they're already on a 6 or 7 game unbeaten run, you fucking idiot. And then he was like, and likewise, if you ask me, can I see Hearts going on a 6 or 7 unbeaten run? Then the answer's no. And I was like, yesterday we won our 10th game out of 11. We're unbeaten in 11 in the league. I was like, what are you talking about, man? You're just talking yourselves in circles. Absolute idiots. So it's funny watching. It's going to be better this time than the Vlad time, because the Vlad time we only got to read it when the papers were released, how scared they were, how desperate they were for us to make a mess of it. Now we get to watch them lose their minds in real time, and it's class. It's great. You see it oozing out of them. I'm just gutted that Bill Leckie isn't still spraffing shit somewhere, because his wee head will explode. Like when you put a bake tat in the microwave and then he pierce it, they just be absolute bright red, fizzing, ready to explode, man.
You're right though as well. I know you've obviously not got Twitter or any sort of social media now, Corbett, but there's already Celtic fan accounts and whatnot being like, should we really worry about Hearts? As I said, there's some folk be like, you'll never worry about it, but at the same time, there's other Celtic fans that are like, but we're shite. So what are we going to
be
do?
fair, my mate is like the most timmiest Tim Celtic fan you'll ever meet in your life. His names like McCraigiffe, Anthony, Jonathan, Mark the 7th of York County. But he's like, honestly, he's ridiculous. The most Celtic minded person I've ever met. And he is like, I'm genuinely worried that we're no good enough and you might do something. And I'm like, whoa, it takes something for him to say, because he is the most Celtic-minded person I have ever met. So there you go.
See, even just on that, right? Like, I think we're all trying to keep reasonably grounded here, but the establishment of the Scottish football has been the same for decades, like most of our lifetime. Realistically, let's be honest. But it hasn't always been like that, and it doesn't mean that it has to always be like that. So if something's going to change, why not now?
100%. 100%. And that's what's exciting about it, is that this isn't a flash in the pan like Vlad. There's some serious substance to what Tony Bloom does. And the thing that I said last week, the thing that should excite everybody, is that Derek McInnes doesn't have his hands tied behind his back. He has a board and a club that will back him, and he knows this league inside out. And I think that's the thing that's the most exciting thing about all of it right now, is that it finally seems like some sensible football decisions are being made at a football club, and we are reaping the rewards for it. Right. We don't have any other football now. With 2 weeks until we're away to Kilmarnock. We'll podcast the week before, do our predictions. I recommend everybody go listen to Hearts TV commentary of Craig Halkett's winner. Go listen to and watch the many fan vlogs from inside the away end, capturing our limbs in a glorious moment. As fun and games, if you want to absolutely wallow in it for the next week, 2 weeks, please just make sure you get it right up them at every opportunity.
No, I'm quite gutted about. We went live the same time as Long Bangers did, the Hibs podcast. I would have
They've blocked us anyway. They had actually was laughing at how shite some of the Hibs songs are. Like, I know all ultras have got, it's one of the things I get ears tight for all the time is they singing the same songs, just changing the words. It does my absolutely head in on repeat. But they had a song for Jamie McGrath yesterday that was genuinely torture. I was like, there's no way you're actually singing it. It says, what's his name? Jamie McGrath. He sings the Ra, he hates the Hearts, and so they are. It's like, what? What is wrong with you, Gimp, man? What is actual wrong with you? Even Jamie McGrath looked like he was embarrassed by it. Yeah, absolute shit.
One more final YouTube question before we go. I don't really know if it's got worth speaking about as such, but DW Jambo says, before you go, is it worth discussing the risk of Dell going to Ibrox?
Zero risk.
No, zero risk.
Yeah, I agree.
It's not happening.
Why would you? Like, just professionally as a manager, like, you're here, you've got Jamestown, you've got Hearts, you've got a brilliant stadium, you've got a brilliant fan base. Everything is arrow up on Hearts just now. You'd be taking yourself out of that situation. Okay, fair enough, you might get a little bit more money going to Rangers. But, like, what? No. A sane person doesn't do that.
They will 100% try and derail what we're doing by saying that he's the number one target or whatever it is. So, like, strap yourself into the headlines. But they're at the same phase that we've been at, and why all of us are so equally frustrated and so now elated was that they're the same. The answer could be staring them in the face, but they'll go down some crazy route to try and get, a fancy named manager that'll make them sound like they've got a big name in, etc. And they'll ignore the fact that pretty much every manager in the league could do a better job than Russell Martin, but they won't do it. It'll be some no-mark coach that you've never heard of before, and they'll get the big billing of he's here to save the day and win the title and all that sort of stuff, and you'll end up back here in 18 months' time having the same conversation about another dog shit manager that's done that.
18 months by Christmas.
As you say, that sounds exactly like what we've been through at Hearts. So, aye.
Right. That's the way I like it. That's the way I like it. Get it right up every fucking one. See you later. I'm going back for a chug. Bye.
Chill.
See you later.
Gorgeros.
And that's the way, I like it.